Second graders, Mr. Askelson here. It is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. Today is a continuation of Lesson 1 from Chapter 10 about telling time to the hour. It says do independent practice numbers 4 through 12 on pages 595 through 596 in your math packet. Complete the right math at the bottom of the page. So yesterday we were talking about two different kinds of clocks, and the first type is the one we have around school quite a bit. It's the analog clock. On the analog clock, it has an hour hand that is shorter, and it points to the hour, and it has a minute hand that is longer, and it points to the minutes. And as long as the minute hand is pointing straight up, right at the 12, then we say the clock is on the hour, and so we can just read the shorthand and see that it is 3 o'clock. The other type of clock is a digital clock, and the digital clock has just numbers on it, and it's one that's probably a little more typical for around your house. You might have one on a laptop or on an iPad or something electronic like a stove or microwave. So on this one, it has two little dots in the middle, and it uses hours on the left, minutes on the right. So you can see that there are 2 hours and 0 minutes. So we say that it is 2 o'clock. Let's look at, all right, here is a digital watch. And it says the time on Javier's watch is now 3 hours after 2 o'clock. So this is the first thing we have to kind of look at. Now it says write the time on Javier's watch that it will show in 1 hour. So I kind of like to say that this says in 1 more hour. So we've got 3 hours after 2 and then 1 more hour. So what would that look like? All right, here we have an analog clock, and over here we have a digital clock. And you can see the minute hand or the long hand is pointing straight up to the 12, so we can read the shorthand or the hour hand at 2. Now, if we go 2 hours or 3 hours past 2 o'clock, so there's 1 hour right there. There's 2 hours. There's 3 hours. So 3 hours after 2 would be 5. And if we go 1 more hour, the analog clock says it's pointing to 6, and our digital clock over here also says 6. So let's take a look and see if we're right. So we would write a 6 right here and then 0, 0. Let's take a look. There we go, 6 o'clock. Javier's watch would read 3 hours after 2 plus 1 more hour. All right, here is just some vocabulary. I think hopefully you did well on your guided practice yesterday, and so you'll do well on the independent practice today. But here was some of the vocabulary from Lesson 1. It says complete each sentence. The hour hand, analog clock, minute hand, and digital clock. So the first question reads, Anne blank has an hour and a minute hand. So it says something has an hour and a minute hand, so we know that it's probably not an hour hand or a minute hand, so that then gives us two choices. Is it a digital clock or an analog clock? And which one did we say has a minute hand and an hour hand? I believe it would be the analog clock. So we would write analog clock, and we'll check these here in just a minute. The blank points to the hour on an analog clock. So we know it's not the analog clock because you'll already use that. A digital clock doesn't point to anything. It just shows the numbers. So which one of these points to the hour? And we know that that would be the hour hand. A blank uses numbers on a screen to show time. Well, I think we remember we just got done saying that one of these clocks uses numbers on a screen to show time. That's the digital clock. And if all is right, then the last one we have is minute hand, so let's see if that fits. The minute hand points to the minute on an analog clock. So I think we're good. So this one, remember, is analog clock. This is hour hand. This is digital clock. And this is the minute hand. Let's check and see if we're correct. We are. So we've got our vocabulary down pretty well. So on today's activity, you are doing the independent practice. This is a pretty good, and I don't know if we've talked about this before, but this is a pretty good clock. The website for this particular clock is right up here. And the thing I like about it, it's really, really easy to use. You can move both hands if you want. And it does have a digital clock up here. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with that clock. So if you want to use this website to help you with that time activity, go ahead and do that. So hopefully this helps second graders. Have a great day.